Hey, it's Shabes, and welcome to another edition of AniTube Digest, where we go over the best and not so best anime YouTube videos to come out this week from the 11th of May to the 17th of May. And first for the video that I thought was not good. I'm sorry, I'm not trying. I don't want to be mean. I really don't. I always feel like not good always gets such a negative connotation because in the past I've used to be very negative. Of course, it's my only, but I try not to be too negative these days because it's what you put out there in the world and stuff. So I don't be, but I don't want to give this decent with an asterisk either because I just like, or I could just not talk about it, but I just think it would be interesting. I don't know, but just let you know, but I guess I'm conflicted about it. Yeah, but this is this video from Violet Myers. I haven't seen much of her content. She seems relatively new. She seems to get an audience very, very quickly, though. Got like 100K, like in a fairly short amount of time, it seems. Maybe she had privated other content. She's been doing this longer, but it seems that she seems relatively new based on her uploads. Anime guide list to becoming a weeb. She also doesn't do too many anime videos, but she does seem, pretty interested in anime. Has watched it for a while. But like, there's other things that she does. Her content's very varied, I guess. But she has done other anime videos before. Actually, like this is kind of her second dedicated anime video. Actually, it seems based on her uploads and stuff. But that's cool. And I like hearing perspectives of other people. And I also like videos that are trying to get more people into it as kind of gateway videos. And I've made my own, and I can't necessarily judge the way she goes about making this video. Very rapid fire and throwing a lot of anime at once. Because I did that with my own video. With this how to get into anime thing was it had 400 anime in like 20 minutes. So like I wasn't really. I don't really dwell on one individual title for very long, or it's not really about that, but I had my own, there's other logic and reason and stuff, but like, I understand there's a bit of a, I have to just be transparent about, I get what I've made. It kind of is a little similar, I guess. But the video, she's going over a number of anime here, and I don't know, I just didn't feel like I got a good sense of her, of her tastes, and like I could tell she was a fan and that she liked stuff, but it wasn't really the best starter where like right at the beginning of the video, not right at the beginning, I guess, but she's going over 4 different genres. She's doing shonen, slice of life, thriller, and isekai. And I'm like, okay, interesting assortment. It's like, all right, yeah, but it's stuff that she's able to speak on, so like that's fair. I'm not expecting you to watch like Mecha or something, but maybe she would. I don't know. But like it was just seemed like the ones that she's versed in, she's able to talk about. And like the first one she mentions is One Piece, and then says I've only seen like 5 or 6 episodes, and like that's not the best first impression to go right out there. Like I would have. Like, she recommends Naruto. Each of these categories, she gives, like, one specific one that she really likes. And she's like, if you had to pick one out of this assortment of, like, 8 or 9 anime that I'm rapid firing at you, I'd go with this one. Is kind of the way she structured this. And, like, she kind of goes with Naruto as the one that she's like, you should probably check that out as your first one because it's influenced a lot of these later ones. And I think that's a good pick because I'm watching Naruto right now. But I just don't know if going with One Piece right at the beginning was just like the play, and then the way she rapid fires through all of these, it was like 8 or 9 different shows, and she does the same format for each one. It just felt too quick, I think it's a tough balance where if you're trying to give a bunch of shows to somebody, but then you kind of have to balance if you're recommending them, give a little something about them. What do you like about these? She did that a couple times with like Fairy Tail, and little blurbs like that would be cool. Or like, I wish there was a season 2. She mentions that with Promised Neverland, where it's like you should see Promised Neverland, but in the second season, And I like that little commentary. I just wish there was more of that. I just felt it was kind of bombarded with the structure. It just felt hindered by the structure, I guess. I think this could have been more of her and her personality, and her thoughts and opinions. Um, that's what I think was kind of missing from this. I wanted to know more, and I mean, you feel you can probably get that from her other videos and checking out more of her content and stuff. There's just a suggestion where it's like maybe you can get more in that way, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. But so continue with that. I'm not going to dunk so much on like, oh, these are such normie, everyday like recommendations. I'm not going to go so hard on that because it's like, yeah, it is what it is. Although it's like, yeah, I wish with the thriller one there was a couple more like. There's a few that I'd be like, man, that'd be a great one to recommend. But with thrillers, she recommends like Death Note, Death Parade. I'm like, not like those are bad things shows to recommend. It's just like I feel like anyone can just kind of go onto Kitsu or Mal or something and they can find those pretty easily. It just didn't seem additive with her recommendations. It just didn't seem like recommendations that anyone else had heard before. It's like for isekai, she's like Konosuba. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't know. It didn't seem as additive to me when you're choosing those particular the shows that she ends up choosing. It's like, yeah, they probably would have encountered those. And I feel like with recommendations, it could have been something like at least one kind of like a curveball of like, oh yeah, that show. That's sort of some things that I like looking for with these kinds of videos. Even just one. The majority of them can be kind of standard picks, and that's fine. But that's just what I'm feeling about it. In the slice of life section she had, I like that she vocalizes as like, this is like kind of one of my favorite genres and things I really like. But then a lot of the recommendations were like school comedies. And it's not like, they can't also be slice of life. Like, they technically are. Like, yeah, none of these were outright wrong. Because it's weird to say that, right? It's like, yeah, but I don't know if it's just, you know what I mean? I don't know. Her picks of like, what were they? It was like Psyche K, Gretzko, I think. I may have got that one wrong. I don't know. But it just seemed like all of them were like the school comedies. And I'm like, okay, And they're not bad picks or anything. It's just like interesting that's her picture of what slice of life is. It's interesting. But that was just kind of something that threw me off personally. And then, thriller, I was like not as happy with it. I was like, come on, let's get some kaiji in here. And I'm like, I guess not. I don't want to be one of those criticizing a video for not having a choice that I would want in there or something. And it's not like this is like a list of the best ones ever. She says at the end, like, let me know if you want to see a video of the top 10 of my top 10 favorites. And yeah, I would want to see that because I feel like that would be more indicative of her and her taste. There was something about the rapid fire that made me feel like maybe that it seems more, because especially when the first thing you say is One Piece and you've only seen 5 or 6 episodes, it colors the rest of them as like, I've heard good things about these shows, this show. And so I don't know if you've seen all of them. I kind of would hope that you had seen the shows that you're recommending. And again, that's the thing with my how to anime video. I did not see maybe a third or half of those 400 anime that I'd showed in that video. But my point wasn't so much that like I'm recommending these shows. It's just like, here are some shows that you're likely to encounter in such and such genre or by this person, whoever directed this sort of thing. It was more like what you would come to see, basically. It doesn't have to be me defending it, but it's like I recognize that, I myself made a recommendation video and included anime that I hadn't seen. So I know it's not an outright great criticism of this video, but it's just something that stuck out to me where it's like that's kind of what colored it, especially with how rapid fire some of these were. It just felt like, I would have I'd like to see what you thought of that show here and there. And I get maybe you're trying to get it under 10 minutes maybe. And then the last one was Harem. Oh, that was right. So there was it was 5 genres. It was shonen, slice of life, thriller, harem, and isekai. And I don't know if I think in that order. And then harem was kind of just mostly ecchi stuff. I don't know. And then again, that's not a bad thing. And yeah, that makes sense but I think like the way she framed, like the first 2 was like prison school, and I think she did DxD second, but then like high school of the dead, like stuff like that. I was just like, so I think you're recommending these more for the ecchi content. So I'm not sure it's and then mixing Oron in there. I love Oron. I'm happy you mentioned Oron. But there was something about that where it was like, you seem to be recommending the harem genre as someone who is like, yeah, you'd want some boobies, and she mentions boobies like twice in mentioning harems. So they like some boobies, whatever. Um, and then but then like including Oron in that group, like yes, it's a harem, but I don't know. Like it just made me be like, well, you're not going to see any much ecchi in Oron. I don't think it has almost any ecchi, pretty much at all. Um, you know what I mean? So there's this weird expectations kind of going into it and lumping it in that way. I don't know. The framing of that was weird. I don't mind for recommending harem and stuff. That's awesome. Um, but it was just something weird about that and the structure of that. Again, a lot of these are like structural problems and like video craft and playing with audience expectations. You know, what do you say first? The way you present yourself. You know what I mean? Things like that. There's things to keep in mind, you know? It was, you know, I could tell that there was an editor behind. Not like I can't, I don't expect you to, whatever. But it was more like, you know, based on the, you know, I had never seen her channel before. So I look at her channel and it's like, okay, this seems more of like a vloggy type channel. That's something that's super editing intensive. And so when I see some stuff that seems relatively flashy and editing intensive, I looked at the description and the editor. I'm like, okay, yeah. And then again, not knocking on editors or anything like that, but there was a definite, like a feeling of, it felt like it was too it didn't feel as cohesive, I guess, when you're going from like the footage to then the vlog style, and then like the editor was including a lot of memes, and it's kind of like the John Cena. Are you sure about that? Yeah. I feel like there could have, I don't know, it felt like two different voices, and then sometimes that works if there's a particular banter with, like, you know, with CDawg VA and Evan, or you know, Mudon including himself in some way, you know, that. But it's a tough line. I don't know. I felt like the editing was a little intrusive at points, and it felt like disjointed, I guess. I don't know why I'm going so hard into picking this specific thing. I just thought it was interesting to talk about. You know, again, I don't have too much, like, I don't have a beef or anything, and I'm trying to be like not good, or, you know, I'm trying to make this a softball as like, you know, without just, yeah, I don't know. I could just call it decent with an asterisk or something, because it's like I like the intention here, and she seems like a good personality on camera. I think she's comfortable in making videos and stuff, and yeah, but. Yeah, this is my thoughts on it. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't have much else to say about it. I just care more about like the craft and you know, the video making on display. And I'm like, I think that could have been done better. I think you know, hopefully that this comes off as constructive and not destructive of just kind of like going after this video or something. Like that's not the case. I just think it's interesting to talk about. I made it as softball as I can. Good job, Shaves. Hopefully. I went to some videos I thought were decent. That was a sentence. And the first one I'll admit I haven't listened to the full podcast, but this is an episode of Void Gazers that I thought people might find interesting. Did I tank my channel? Trixie talking with a... What is his channel? He is a YouTuber, but he was someone I wasn't familiar with. I'm not familiar with his channel. Who is it? Oki's Weird Stories. And they'd been following her for a while and seemed like they knew what they were talking about when it came to her channel. But I think it was just Oki really presenting the tough questions that a lot of people had been feeling about Trixie's content recently. And, you know, in regards of me feeling that way, I kind of just care if she's happy and that she's making the content she wants to make. It is to my taste, and there is something kind of very off kilter about it. I guess it's like maybe because, like, I don't know. Maybe it was just like we don't see her as on camera as often, maybe, or in the, I guess, framed in the way that we're used to with the After Dark channel. It doesn't feel. I think that may have been what like. Oki vocalized how much that he liked her video on Things I'm Into Right Now, because it felt like an After Dark video of just her vlogging and her talking by herself. I don't know if he doesn't really mention it outright, but I think it's like Trixie's the friends that Trixie has made and has started to collaborate with. I may have vocalized this in other places, but it just seemed very sudden. It may have felt very sudden to people, and maybe Oki gets to that point. I got about halfway through this. It's a 2-hour thing. Not like I was fatigued. It's just like I had a lot of other things to listen to, including another podcast and a big featurette thing. So I didn't really fully go into it, but like I really liked the insight that Trixie was talking about, and it's great that she can recall and reflect on a lot of her channel's history and her mindset going into things, and also admitting where in places where she messed up, of here was my mindset going here, and I realized this. The maturity that she's presenting here is really great. And I don't know if there's as much of an ego as much as it's more like clarity. It just seems like Trixie knows what she's doing, even though it's disappointing for those of us who like have seen her collab with Nate and with these other guys in PC. I wasn't really a PCP follower too much, but seeing those things and it's seeming like Trixie is burning a bridge and breaking up with her girlfriend, her girl with May and things like that. We're concerned in those regards. But if it seems healthy for her and seems like the right move, sure, you know what I mean. I think there's like an unstableness and an uncertainty to the content, I guess. But that's been the case for years with Trixie. She's gone through a lot of phases, and the whole arc thing, feeling like arcs in her channel's content. It's still great and interesting to follow her throughout the years. And yeah, it's going through a really rough period right now. Even this video has like half dislikes, maybe because like a lot of people weren't fully satisfied. It didn't feel like it went anywhere, and that's okay. I'm just liking that she's being self-reflective and that Oki is pushing pretty hard and maybe not getting, he felt like he was kind of repeating himself a lot, and not really presenting maybe why that might be, certain things might be the case. But that's because he's coming from the place of a viewer and not from someone who is intimate with Trixie's process, because it's really only Trixie that can do that. So of course it seems like Trixie has the upper hand in this conversation for most of what I watched. That completely makes sense because it's her personal channel and only she has the most intimate knowledge of, like, I think if someone talked to me about my channel and my thought, I would be the same exact way. Same with anybody if they were trying to like talk about someone else's content in this manner, and they're talking about your channel. Like, think about if you're a YouTuber and you're listening to this right now. If someone did this and they were like, I'm disappointed with you, they kind of have been following you for a while, but you're not satisfied. You're not unsatisfied the way they are, and there's a disconnect. And the way Trixie talks here, it's like, yeah, completely. Of course, yeah. And I bet Oki would feel the same way if someone talked about his channel, right? It's a similar thing, because we all kind of remember because it's our content, right? I don't know, just my thoughts about that. I think it was really interesting and thought-provoking. It is challenging, a challenging situation for some fans. Again, I'm just here for the ride, and looking forward to what happens. And yeah, I mean, I'm at the end of the day, I would hope that she's really happy with what she's making and the friends, and she doesn't get into any dangerous situations. I was kind of concerned about the Dick Masters. Was it? I don't know who she was beefing with that like May is in a relationship with now, and then her coming over and that altercation. That was really dangerous. That was scary. I didn't want to see that. I don't want anyone to get hurt. I don't like that. If that's what has to happen, and it ends up being that way, it's like nothing we can do. Fine. But like, it's just disappointing. And also the way that Trixie handled that with posting that sort of video up on her channel, to me, it was just like scary. And that was a bad vibe. Maybe they address that later in this podcast. I don't know. But it was just, that was a bad vibe to me. But it's like, yeah, I'm down for what's going on, I guess. Best of luck with the future and what's going on. I'll still be here. I'll be following it. And the other podcast I wanted to talk about is just the cameo, the guest star of Super Eye Patch Wolf on Just Weebs podcast, Cursed Dolls, Satanic Anime, and Bad Shonen Takes. It was really nice. I really liked hearing from John in him reflecting on his content. Again, Onimaru gives pretty good questions. I think they had really nice banter. I think Shocking was very complimentary. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it went off the way I would want it to. Um, I was happy to hear about it, and yeah, a fresh, fun conversation. I need to also listen to Cineclinic's appearance, and talking about like how to discuss animation or something. I should listen to that too. So many things to listen to, so little time. You know what I mean? And yeah, I think I had like less than 30 seconds to talk about. Like I listened to the whole thing. Like I had more to talk about with Trixie's than I'm sorry. It is what it is. I loved it. I really liked it. Was fun. I checked out another Netflix anime video. They keep posting pretty regularly and doing a lot of different things too. So this was the first time I saw something from Enco, which is their VTuber personality that they have, and it's the Enco show. Anime to Make You Cry was the episode I checked out. And this was a kind of a variety show hour, and it seems very authentic. It came off authentic to me, where that it's in Japanese. You had to turn on the closed captions on the video to hear the English, to see it in English. The text, the way that she presents it, like script wise, it feels like Japanese television. I don't know, the way it's presented, I guess, which can be kind of stiff and whatever. It doesn't feel like VTuber in the same way that we know of the live streamers, because that one's very off the cuff and it's just a different energy. But this is more scripted, but that's fine. That's fair. She covers a couple anime that's on Netflix that is pretty standard picks with like Anohana and Violet Evergarden, but I like the insight that she was bringing to it. And yeah, I like the Q&A that she has, like, why are you a sheep? And it was something like, yeah, I don't know, her answer was cute. I don't remember it, though. Yeah, but, like, the vibe was cool. It's a bit still on the stiff side, but I think that's just, part of the authenticity of this style of video. So I enjoyed it, and it's great to see that Netflix is really doing a lot of different things and being more active channel than just like posting clips. It's not a bad thing to just post clips, right? But I think it's cool they're doing more than that, and they're kind of testing this field, and collabing with Giga and Sid Snap on this other thing, I mean, that was interesting. This other video with like the best couples or something, like it was similar to the one that I talked about a couple weeks ago with Joey and Connor with like 7 Deadly Sins. So I was like, yeah, I don't really want to cover similar content, like similar types of videos, because it'd just be kind of redundant. But this was interesting. I liked it. BobSamurai had a good video on Sing Yesterday for me. I had heard about the differences with the anime and the manga, that it kind of skips like 5 volumes or whatever. But I really liked Bob's in-depth discussion about it, and that he was very nuanced, didn't go one side or the other. He rated both the anime and the manga. Seemed very even-handed. I also really like the presentation of this. I don't know if he's started, I haven't checked out all of his reviews since between that last one and this one, but I really liked him being on camera again. That was really nice. And I think the setup is great, actually. I think it fits to the vibe that he's rocking right now. It's not the suit era, but it's not the after the suit, like this I don't know if I call it the dark age or anything, because like he wasn't doing reviews or anything, and he was not as active, I guess. But it's like that period when he kind of slowed down significantly, and when he's picked back up and doing more consistent. I don't know. It began with an R. I forgot the name. Regular. I think that was the word. Regular weekly reviews, which is great. I'm happy to see him active like this, and he's enjoying anime. Not like he wasn't. I don't know. Sorry for putting words in your mouth or something. But I really like this. The presentation of this video is what I'm trying to say. It felt really similar to that previous era, but like, I don't know, more refined, I guess. And yeah, I like the visuals a lot in this. And watching this particular video was engrossing. But yeah, really thorough, really even-handed. Yeah, I really like this video, man. It was a really great review. Was making me kind of convinced to check it out. The anime in particular. Because it was one of those seasonals that like I'd heard about, and I was like, yeah, we'll see what it turns out. And then hearing about that ending, a lot of people didn't like it, so I was like, yeah. But I think you sold particularly on the visuals. I think the occasional time you show the visuals you presented with the narration you had was like, this is great, and I'm like, yeah, it is. It's like, it was better than I heard about, I guess. So yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, great review, really nice. I checked out this Glass Reflection video ranking 69 cultured anime by plot, and it's a sponsored video by High Dive to talk about their uncensored stuff. And he's basically using this as a way to kind of like recommend a bunch of fan service shows, ecchi or softcore, I guess, where it's like, yeah, there's some stuff you can. But the real craft on display here is the writing, because he never really overtly talks about like, oh, this it's not like this is a ecchi hentai, and it is wink wink in terms of plot and everything. And I liked the second angle that he introduced, and I don't know if he's done this in other videos, but this is the first I think I've seen where he does like the turn to the camera type of thing. Although you missed one moment. You missed a certain bit. I hate to point this out, but there was a moment where you left a bit in that wasn't supposed to be there. Just saying. I hate to nitpick, but I would just notice as an editor, I was like, nothing. But yeah, the writing was great here, actually. I thought it was very precise. Incision is the kind of... I don't know what kind of word I'm trying to say. I'm a loss for words today. Oh, well. I really liked it. I thought it was very crafty. I like the various sections, and top-heavy, and kind of giving an ulterior definition of what top-heavy shows versus bottom heavy, but it's referring to the TNA and type of thing and those sorts of stuff. Yeah, and I liked this was similar to Violet Meyer's video, where it was very rapid fire and he's going through a lot of shows, but it is twice the length, so he is able to give a little bit of a blurb, even if it doesn't give that much. It's not a very substantive blurb, where I'm like, that didn't help me describe whatever show you're talking about. But sometimes it did, and sometimes it was like, oh, okay, because there's just a deluge of all these very obscure 2010 anime that like are on High Dive, I guess. But still interesting. And I think it was a good craft. I did like the second angle that you were using, and the visual for the kind of the cork board with all the shows and stuff. I thought it was a well-crafted video, and well made. This is not the most captivating thing for the subject matter for me personally. It is what I'm above that. No, I'm just saying. Yeah. Yeah, but I thought it was well made. It was really cool. Good job. Okay. And now what I thought were the best videos of the week. They're the ones that I thought were the best videos of the week. And the first one is RogersBase. I don't know if this is the first time I talked about RogersBase. It might be. But, I've been following, he mostly does reaction stuff, and it's mostly One Piece. So it's like, not often I'm talking about it. But he put this video out, listening to Guts' theme from Berserk for the first time. And like, yeah, I can't not love that on its face, because I don't know how many people have actually been able to capture their first reaction of Guts. I mean, Guts' theme is one of my favorites, and I made a whole analysis video about it. But this is kind of rare that someone at the stature of RogersBase hasn't listened to Guts and is listening to the first time. And he nailed it when he was like, this sounds like Paranoia Agent. Oh, it sounds like Paprika. And like, he had no idea it was the same composer. So that was really great. I was like, you nailed it. But his reaction was exactly what I wanted. Like, yeah, maybe even, it was perfect. It was exactly what I wanted out of it. And he listened to it twice. And, he also said that, like, he hadn't listened to it because he had read all of Berserk. He's caught up. But he never checked out any of the anime because he heard they sucked. Sure. Of course. Fucking Berserk fans, dude. Fucking No, 97 is amazing. Please watch it. Please. Oh, god damn it. Ugh. But yeah, in part because of Guts' theme. So he's like, yeah, this is almost making me want to watch the anime. I'm like, watch it. Yeah. But yeah, man, this was just exactly what I wanted. I don't care. I enjoyed it that much. I watched it twice. Like first the moment it came out, and then again went for Digest. Like it was like, yeah, dude, hell yeah. This was a very good video from Erica Friedman. I think this is the first time I've given her one of the best videos of the week. And not like her other stuff was that bad. It was just like, she was new. She hadn't really perfected the craft all that much. She's having someone else edit it and, figuring out more of a presence on camera. But this one, I think she's really getting into a good stride. It feels really natural. She got a different angle, which there's some stuff in the back which looks really great. I think it's a better background. They're really great narrative thrust, kind of talking about this very common meme of how it started and how it's going, and she's analyzing that particular first image and then that latest one, and using it as a guide to be like, this is what it's like with like the Yuri genre and the barriers we've had to break through, and kind of going through some of the tropes and stuff. And then at the end, where it's like, this is kind of the best we've got so far, and this is describing the how it's going one is life as a villainess, and how it's the really closest they've gotten to like a real Yuri, like the real queer character, romance, marriage, and then daily life that they've wanted. That like you can see it in spurts in other places, and she's like, can you really name a title that is outright this? It's not compromising. They want really an uncompromising Yuri manga, and that completely makes sense. And I'm saying they, not just that's her pronouns. I don't know. I'm assuming she, but like it would be, I'm saying they as in the community. It seems that she was really speaking on behalf of the entire group. Because she's talking about to her patrons in her group and everything, and her colleagues and the people of them, the fans. Really, it seems that there was like I think she was using we in this video of kind of like and addressing the fans. It seems so. It seemed like I was kind of an outsider, and that's not a bad thing. I'm not trying to say it was it felt exclusionary. It just felt it was like, this is a video really made for this group of people, and so that's why I'm kind of using the they and the kind of like framing it that way, I guess, and to justify it in that way, I guess. But no, I thought it was great. I thought the visuals were really keen. Nothing felt like kind of stiff, and kind of what her other content, kind of her previous content I've seen of her. It feels like it's been getting better and better. And I thought the framing device of this with the meme is a really great idea, and it was captivating and interesting. And yeah, I really liked it. It was a really great video. Excellent. So F.C Weaboomer came off a whole month of recording herself talking about all the Ghibli movies. I think pretty much all of them. They're all, she compiled an entire review. It's like 2 hours. So that was really great. But she didn't do a similar review. She pretty much covered all of them except Spirited Away, because Spirited Away is significantly more important to her, and she puts it in this video, Spirited Away at Magnum Opus, much longer and much more experimental and interesting, very distinctive. Only she could have made a video like this. Kind of, it was really coming from a personal place. It was the first movie that she had seen, and she considers it perfection, best zenith, kind of like the zenith top one, zenith of medium kind of thing, best thing she's ever seen. Feels the same way when she's watched it the first time as the other time. And like, it's that idea of she presents it as like, I wrote pages and pages of notes, but I don't want to make a video like that because it doesn't come off the way I want it to. And so she decides to go with something kind of more different, where she's asking I guess her significant other, it seems like it's her significant other, to bounce off of. And he's like, so why did you like this movie? Or, and I like, it was very captivating. especially the visuals. The visuals, she was just in the woods for pretty much in like a no-face cosplay, and she's kind of walking in it, sitting and absorbing and kind of doing some crazy moves, and it was really captivating. The ending shot was also really great, where like, I guess, I don't know if it was the same person, but her significant other, I would assume it seemed like that way based on how it was being framed. Like, she's a really great shot of like her, like kind of a wide shot, and then she's standing in like in like a sunny spot, in a sunny patch, in like this huge forest, a gorgeous forest she's in. Oh my gosh. And her significant other is like, it's like keeping the camera where it is, and he's walking towards her, and that, you know, they're giving their conclusion. It felt like kind of like a, almost like a Discord call in the same way, but, you know, better quality, because I think they were probably in the same place. And then he walks over to her and kind of like takes her hand and supports her in that way, and that's how the video ends. I was like, that's a great shot. It was gorgeous. And I just love how personal this was. I thought the choice was fantastic. Like the conceit of this video is excellent. I thought it was very emotional and captivating in terms of a visual thing. I thought it was a lot of interesting like points to bring up in the way it was framed, and the fact that it's pretty much unscripted, you know, or at least it seems unscripted, right? But yeah, it's probably completely authentic, you know, and I shouldn't say probably, it definitely, it just, you can feel it. It's incredible, really. And you know, it's not trying to make that grand point and try to prove it to the audience, because she doesn't. I like that she makes this point of like, she doesn't really care if people have problems with it, and she's not really there to convince anyone of any. She's like, it doesn't matter to me, it's perfect to me, there's zero flaws with it, you know. And there's that perfection type of thing, and it's so pure. And you know, I think a lot of people would try to do that and try to make that convincing argument, but she doesn't see any use in that, because it's like, it's such a personal film for her. And you know, she's not trying to sell it in that way. What she's presenting is how strong her conviction is, and how deep her love is for this film. I thought that was really unique, really awesome. I really liked it. I thought it was excellent. You guys should definitely check that out. I do think it's, you know, she's done scripted stuff before, and I do think it's better. I do think I like her unscripted stuff better, just because it doesn't feel as stated. It doesn't feel as like performative, I guess. I don't know. Comparing like some of her scripted content I've seen in the past to this, I just felt that this was much more compelling, engaging, and unique. I also just like how distinctive it is, because it's really just her. And I don't know. I know you can't really make a video like this again, and you can't really replicate this in the same way. But I would encourage. I'm sorry I didn't check out a lot of her Ghibli month and everything, because it just wasn't as compelling for me personally, which is like the one shot, the one filming her in the one angle and stuff like that, and her just kind of talking off the cuff about it. You know, it is what it is. That's just me personally, but it's like finding a way to do this. Maybe not every time or something. I don't know. But yeah, no, I think you nailed it. That was excellent. You know, it's one of those things where it's like, it's hard to replicate, or you can't really, you know. So it's tough to go from where to go from here in terms of like what you should do in the future and stuff. But I'm just saying in general, I feel like, especially if you can make content like pretty rapidly, pretty consistently, if you're comfortable being on camera and unscripted, I'd say keep going with this. I think it's really great. I think you did really well here. Yeah. And kind of similar to F.C Weaboomer, Kevin Nyaa put out a video about how a silent voice saved me, the perfect anime film. And he starts the video in a similar way, where he's like, you know, it's hard for me to describe how I feel about this and how much this film has impacted me. And you can tell where it's like, yeah, I feel like this is something that Kevin would have talked about back in 2017. It does feel like a film that is in his wheelhouse, and in like it fits with his channel. So it is surprising that it's taken till now for him to make a video like this. And he comes through again with like really precise clip selection and editing, as well as like a really sharp script. I will say I'm not like the biggest silent voice fan. I don't know why. I couldn't really articulate it why. I don't know. It just didn't impact me the same way. Um, could have been the situation I was in or something like that. But man, he sells it here. It's another sick. I think it was. I think I said the exact same thing about his video on Wolf Children, where I wasn't big on that film either, and yet he sold me very, very well on it. Like those, please do like topical love story next, please. Because I'm not as keen on that film either, and maybe you'll sell it to me on that way. I don't know, man. He does really well with his scripts. I think it's very specific, and yeah, it's very. I like that he was, he says that it's like, man, I worked really hard on this video, and it took me a long time to make, but it doesn't come off in the same way. It doesn't feel like this grand, immaculate, twisty, or even in the same way. It is just kind of a standard film analysis of silent voice, but it's really, really, really effective. It's just really cutting and sharp and focused and effective. Yeah, I really liked his personal anecdotes that he had here. And yeah, he just kills. He just hits another home run, I think. I really, he doesn't post too often, and that's okay. So when it hits, it hits. You keep up with the quality. Quality over quantity, my guy. I like the mention. He tweeted this earlier about how people who can make videos like this every week is baffling to him. It's not because they can make this quality every week. It's because they're not. Because I don't think the scripts are usually this sharp. They probably have one draft and then they record it, if I was to predict it. Or maybe it's unscripted. Or it doesn't have as precise video editing in terms of the clip selection here. I will say the one thing I could say about this, one thing that sticks out to me. There was a moment where you used 4 different clips to kind of show to show multiple situations at once, and 3 of the 4 were slowed down, and then because that was the length of time you wanted to show them with. I feel like you could have done some sort of creative transition to show that there's a link with those 4, but then show them all full screen at regular speed. I just don't know. I feel like it kind of jumped me out of it for a second. Not the fact that there was 4 of them, but the fact that 3 of them were slowed down pretty artificial. And it's like, slowing anime footage down, sometimes it works, but other times you can feel it, and it just feels artificial and kind of immersion breaking to me personally. Probably would have done something different there. Maybe just kind of like having the full screen and showing all 4 clips to make it show like, oh, there's a link with each of these instances. Something like that. But, a nitpick. One little thing. But for the most part, it always feels very precise of the clip that you're showing. And I always respect that kind of dedication with clip selection, because I'm very picky with that too. But no, what I was saying, like, it's probably because they are not putting out this degree of quality of this kind of video. Maybe they are. Maybe it's like, oh, those people that can put out this quality every week, they might, sure. But those people will probably also still have their own editors and have other people like partially writing their scripts. You know what I mean? And there's kind of like a pipeline too, where they've planned a lot of these in advance, and they're working them in stages and stuff. Like, it's industrial. Like a lot of these YouTube channels, they're planning it because it's their living. I don't know if it's your living, right, Kev? It's not my living either, and that's okay, because that means we can focus just on the craft and enjoy the process, be in every step of the process. Although it's good to have multiple people working on it. I was just talking with Jack today as I was recording this, because I'm hopefully collabing with him. He's helping with a little bit of the video that I'm making, and I was telling how I was like, I'm having a lot of people help me with this video in different aspects, and that's a challenge in itself to like juggle all those things and to ensure that things are happening. There's a bit of coordination to have happen. It's on me. But that sort of thing is really rewarding. The more people that you could involve in the process, the better the video could turn out. At least that feels like that way to me. Whereas a lot of YouTube, it always feels like you have to be the one editing it, you have to be the one writing it, you performing it, and it's you, it's all you. I think there's like this in it subtextual expectation from viewers and from yourself, from your own, because it's like you probably started by making videos and it was just you, and so you might be attached to editing the videos yourself or doing the certain things yourself, making the thumbnail yourself. And then you realize you don't make good thumbnails like me. I don't like. I mean, I like making some thumbnails, but man, I'm not good at it. So like, at the same time, I don't want to like lean on Steven too much to like make my thumbnails, but I told him that, but I was like, I might need help. I might need you to make this one. Help me with this one because I don't know what to do. So things like that. Not to say you have to collab. I think you're doing great. I'm just sort of commenting on that idea of like putting out this degree of quality, the kind of video you just made regularly. It's because there's other things, and I feel like part of that compromises what this video could have been. I feel like this video might not have been as good if it was part of a pipeline. You know what I mean? Not to knock the pipeline. You knock the hustle, right? I get it. But that's just something that I of course, this isn't so super replicable. Just a thought, perspective. But I'll say the thing I enjoyed the most this week, I mean, it wasn't technically from a YouTuber per se. It was an upload of something, but I helped crowdfund this. I contributed to the crowdfunding of this translation of NHK Professional Hideaki Anno special, uploaded by AnnoCinema. Thank you for for instituting that. He's the one who did the fund me to pay a translator to do this, and it's YouTube closed captions, so you can watch the video clean. Sometimes he has to avoid copyright by doing muting the audio completely and having the video kind of like in a weird manipulated way where you can still watch it pretty clean, but it's like smaller on the screen. But the closed captions still work, but like you can't hear like the voices, which I like doing. I don't want to just have the subs. I would want to hear like the voice of Anno and whoever was talking and stuff, and the announcer and things. I just like that immersive experience. But hour and 15 minutes for the most part, it's the actual footage. I will say that that's a caveat that I was a little disappointed in. I had to I had downloaded previously a raw version of the special that I had, and so I just like used that audio with these subs basically. But that's the one thing I would say against this. But that's fine. Still, the translation was great, and the special itself was phenomenal. It is AVO 3.0 plus 1.0 spoilers. I think it's just because there's a couple like scenes from it, and you can maybe glean a couple of things, but like it's not as much of a spoiler as like a trailer. And maybe I'm wrong, and maybe someone would be like, no, it wasn't. It was real spoilers. I don't know. Maybe I'm not as much of an Ava fan, I guess. I love Ava. Don't get me wrong. But I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm like, crumbs. I'm not like that. Analyzing, breaking down the trailer and stuff. I feel like it was just as much of a spoilers as like one of the Ava trailers. Same kind of thing. But yeah, I didn't know if it was really that much spoilers. But man, the insight with Anno and the way the how transparent the special is of like, this is the most ambitious we did because we didn't anticipate having to film him for 4 years. They started filming this in 2017, and they kept filming because it shows you why this took so long, why the film took 8 years to make. It wasn't because it was just that immaculate or whatever. It was because they kept having to push it back, because Anno was dissatisfied with the script that he wrote was stuck on the ending, how to end the film for a while, like hadn't written the script yet. Very like they started recording the audio before they even knew what the end of the movie was, kind of deal. And it was scrapped a whole section. It was because of how high his standards are, and this dichotomy of this struggle of like, I don't want to do all of this myself, but no one can really get to where I want it to be. And I loved some of the he was like, too boring. Any other director would use that. There was one moment where he was like, any other director would have used that shot. No. And we were like, that's boring. And he just has these astronomically high standards. But but then there's another pull of like, I have to finish it. I have to keep going. I have to do it. And it was a very conflicting and compelling, ruthlessly compelling documentary. And kind of dabbled a little into his history as a director. Didn't go as deep because it was one moment where like he debuted as a director and they showed Nyaa. When that didn't Gunbuster come first, and does that not count? Does that not count? Huh? That was just weird. It was like, that wasn't his, I guess it was his TV debut. Like, yeah. But do OVAs not count now? Like, why? Okay. But that was weird. But like, not a big, it was a nitpick. But man, yeah, but his like, watching him, they had to get all these different shots and all these different angles, and how important the angle is in animation and in film. And they film on these angles, but he's not satisfied with any of them. And he's like, I don't want to do it myself. And then he does it himself in the sort of thing. And the absolute fucking energy that it was having occasionally of like, don't film me, film this. And like, they were like, we felt that like his creative control and his ego was seeping into the documentary, like the NHK documentary itself, being like, he wanted to control it too. I mean, he's like, hey, get some B footage of the pouring rain outside. It'd be good for the documentary. And they're like, okay. And it was like really intense energy. Oh my gosh, it was so good. And he's like, and it was like, it happened. He called us in for a meeting, and he's like, you shouldn't focus this on me. You should focus this on the film and what they're doing. And it was just very interesting and crazy and different. He wasn't wacky or anything. It was just like very compelling, especially at the very beginning, like the absolute beginning of like, boom, like they use the Ava soundtrack, and it's just him running, and we don't know where to, and it's just like, what's going on? Like it was a freaking roller coaster at points, and you totally understand why this took so long, and you felt it and you understood. And they got great footage of like the last time each of the like the last time Shinji was in the recording booth, like the Seiyu, and for Asuka and for Misato, I think. Oh my gosh, that was just fantastic. And the ending was really, it didn't feel like it spoiled so much. It was just like, oh yeah, it's another like, little extra clip of Ava. Oh, you might get glean a little bit here and there. But no, I wouldn't worry as much about spoilers. But I think it's probably mandatory viewing to watch this before going into 3.1 plus 1.0, just so that like you get where he's coming from, and what, like, realize that the person watching that, he didn't watch the final film, he edited all of it, he was in the editing room the entire time. But like, you can where it's like, just the perspective of that they didn't do this without a storyboard. He explicitly didn't want to use a storyboard for this, and that's partly why it took so long, because they couldn't decide on what angles to use and all this different thing. And then he was constantly thinking about like, this shot's boring, do a different shot. And he's maximizing enjoyment and entertainment with this movie. So it's like, and I feel like he doesn't care as much about the little individual nitpicky plot and what happens and who gets with who and the things that Ava fans care about. I don't think he actually cares as much. It seemed when he was when he was doing the edit, when he was at work, it seemed like he was purely focused on what is the most entertaining, compelling, evocative movie that he can make, and giving it his best. That I would just have I just have way more immense respect. And also just hearing the perspective of why he made the Ava rebuilds at all. It didn't seem like out of an ulterior motive. It was because he realized he couldn't make anything else without just kind of borrowing his ideas from Ava, because he said literally all of my interesting ideas are in Ava. So it would just feel like an Ava ripoff and I can kind of feel that in Karikano and in Shin Gojira. There's things like, oh yeah, that's a little bit in Ava, but that's like that's just the directorial artistic flair and the, kind of the residue of an auteur, I guess. I don't know. But for him, it's like, yeah, so I just have to kind of I decided to remake them, and he kind of frames it in that way, where he's like, well, if I'm just going to make Ava again, I may as well actually remake Ava. And that's the thought process going in there. And so, but then 3.0 plus 1.0, they were framing it as just like, it's different. There's just something different about this. I can't do another remake. I can't do another rebuild the same way I've been doing these other 3 movies. So I honestly think I'll probably be watching 3.0 plus 1.0 with a completely different lens as the other 3 movies. At least for me, I think it reframed my perspective and my expectations, right? Because before we're all kind of like, where is this going? How will it end? And he's not as concerned about that. Like, apparently, there was a moment where where Shinji Seiyu was just like, doesn't this mean there's just more coming? And he's like, no, that's the end. And he's like, you're sure? And he's like, yeah, that's the end of Ava for me. We're just like, that's the end of my Ava. And then it's like, oh, okay. And so then but then it's so him. It's so his Ava, and he's so much in it. No one's going to make it again. No one's going to continue off from where he left. Because if he's not involved, it's not Ava. I think it was a kind of a quote like that. Like, if he wasn't doing it, it wouldn't be Evangelion. I think it's one of the Seiyus said. So yeah, there's that idea of like, nope, that's it. That's it. So it's like, I am dreading this discourse that's coming. Absolute dread. I don't want it. I can already tell. I could tell from when it fucking released, and people were leaking it, and people were upset and going fucking crazy over it. And then trying to create fake leaks to try to dissuade or whatever. But God, fucking fans, dude. Gee, but I guess I guess a lot of people liked it, and I don't know. Man, I do not look forward to the discourse. I really don't. I really, really fucking don't. But this is required. I would expect people to watch this, to be honest with you. I know it shouldn't. I personally don't subscribe to the whole you shouldn't watch this behind the scenes meta thing in order to understand the actual movie. The movie should be able to stand on its own. But I also believe that reframing having proper expectations for something, to know going into something that this doesn't adapt the entire manga. This thing happens, or not plot relevant stuff, but it's just going into it with the right expectations is really important for media, because if you go in with the wrong expectations, you're going in with different expectations, and then you don't get what you want. You shouldn't really want anything besides being surprised or entertained or whatever you get from media, from just consuming something like this, but having if this doesn't get answered, if this doesn't happen, I've had pretty poor experiences with media from doing that. So I don't want to do so. I wouldn't want to go in blind watching most media, to be honest with you, because I just feel like I end up getting burnt that way personally. I just like having that awareness, and that's just me. Maybe people disagree with me. But yeah, I really think you should watch this. Don't worry too much about spoilers here. This is really fascinating. Yeah, definitely check this out. Oh my gosh. That'll do it for this installment of AniTube Digest. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, including Austin, Boo, Kuiper, My Anime Pod, Najbeb, Nicholas, Saxon, Unique Nameosaurus, Victor, and Yellow Cheese. You guys are great. You have a great week. Yo, peace.